Hi, everybody, and welcome back. You may or may not know me. My name is Sam from AffairRecovery.com. If you've watched any of my most recent videos, my friend Amanda Asproni, an expert, is in with me again today, and we're going to talk about something that you may not have heard a lot of. It's called narcissistic supply. It's a little bit nuanced, but here's what it looks like. I, the unfaithful, need the betrayed to be okay. Because if the betrayed is not okay, I can't be okay, and I fall apart. It essentially looks like, I, the unfaithful, I need you to be okay. You can't be falling apart. You can't be raging. You can't be unsettled. You need to just be like this because I need you to be okay so that I feel okay internally. What is this about? You have said to me it's narcissistic supply. Now, before you are off to the races, what we are not saying is that description means your partner is a narcissist. Absolutely not, and that does not ensure that they have narcissistic personality disorder. It just means they may struggle with some narcissism, right?
Right, so narcissism is a spectrum. Everybody has narcissistic traits. It's not all bad. So think about it in terms of balance. So there's a great book by Craig Malkin, and it's called Rethinking Narcissism. So you can learn about the spectrum of it.
So we can be extremely narcissistic, but not a narcissist.
Narcissistic tendencies, and they can get exasperated or they can pop up under extreme stress or trauma.
So in this scenario, and I think that this is so important, I was so excited to talk about this because I think it is a true life-changing principle for us unfaithful to learn, which is, I can be okay even though my betrayed is not okay, even though I'm responsible for the terror that I have inflicted upon my partner. I can be okay. That's hard. Why?
You tell me, why is it hard for the unfaithful?
It's hard for us because, oh my gosh, we're struggling with so much shame. Mm-hmm. We feel horrible about what we've done. We've obviously had an affair or multiple affairs or an addiction. We've crushed you guys. And so now here I come trying to say that you can be okay even if the betrayed is not. And you broke it down for me that, listen, if I need you to be okay to make me feel okay, something's wrong, right?
Right. So I think what happens for the unfaithful is when they see the pain or the consequences of their actions, then it's basically like running the movie of their affair right before their eyes. It's like they are watching themselves cause the car crash that, critically harms their spouse. So it can be overwhelming. Now, the reason that it becomes a narcissistic supply issue is because if you have low ego strength, low self-worth, you don't feel like you can make bad decisions and not be bad, then your self-esteem, your self-worth, your stability and regulation lives in that betrayed spouse. So they don't have the freedom to just fall apart.
Because when they do, we fall apart. And then we act like jerks.
Yes.
Or jerkettes. We start to say, oh my gosh, here we go. You won't stop talking about it. You're never happy. We throw all these ego defense mechanisms or all these blame shifting and all this stuff because internally we don't have an internal self-reference.
Projection. You're projecting your shame onto, you're shaming me. And the betrayed spouse is going, I'm in pain. I'm just talking about my pain. Projection.
I'm emoting. I'm just feeling the trauma of what we've done. But we try and control your reaction. We try and say, can you just keep it together, because we are so, and I use this word loosely, it's like we're addicted to you keeping it together, or we can't keep it together. And then we look like idiots because then you fall apart. And we fall apart and shame you for falling apart, when the best thing that we could do when you fall apart is
to stay grounded. Don't crater. Be a safe container. So remember, Rick says shame is pride turned inside out. If you crater, then you abandon the betrayed spouse, because then they have to put themselves together.
And that's why so many betrayeds feel like they have to take care of their unfaithful.
Yes, it's awful.
Oh, it's so awful, because the betrayed feels like, I can't not be okay, because I've heard this for 2 decades almost. where the betrayed says, I feel like I'm taking care of my unfaithful when they should be taking care of me.
It can be more wounding than the affair.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big statement.
That's true.
Why?
Because you are trying to cope with your whole reality being completely blown up, and you don't have any stability because your whole world's been rocked. Now you are also being asked to stay, try to repair, I can explain, okay. And then you need them and they can't even show up for you. So the level of self-centeredness and abandonment that then the betrayed spouse feels like, you already sliced me and diced me, and now it's adding insult to injury.
It makes total sense, because you're sitting here going, I'm trying to heal, I'm trying to survive, and you are at some level
Regressing into a 2-year-old.
You said it, not me. It's like we're asking you to take care of us because we're so upset, when the most courageous thing that we could do, in my opinion, would be, I got to find somebody to go get me okay.
Yes.
And show up for my betrayed, right?
Yes, right. So you, at that moment, it's like objectification. Narcissistic supply is objectification. You don't look at a person as a person. It's what can that person do to feed my lack of self-worth, or to help me not feel the intensity of my shame. And so basically it's a tantrum. We call it like infantile grandiosity, like you're tantruming. How come you're not giving me what I want? Make me feel good about myself.
Ooh, let's all take a deep breath. Oh, I mean, I think you said it perfectly. Make me feel good about myself again, because I don't feel good about myself because of what I've done. So you make me feel good about myself.
And it's objectification, because if you are not in this narcissistic supply mode, would anybody who had a heart ask a betrayed spouse who you've just made them feel absolutely like the biggest piece of, right? Mm-hmm. And so for the betrayed spouse, it's so heart-wrenching.
What can the betrayed do in this scenario?
So you have to have strong boundaries and understanding what it is. So I don't like to use labels to like punish or slap. It's to explain. And
Sure.
Then we know what the treatment plan is. Oh, if you struggle with needing narcissistic supply, that tells me all about your childhood, or you have some kind of trauma, loss. Your mother could have died. Maybe you had an abusive father. Maybe you had just kind of some kind of tragic thing happen at school. Something happened to you where then you have to latch on because you can't hold your ground yourself. So the betrayed spouse holding the boundary of, you need to go work with somebody to help you. I can't have you in a parent-child dynamic when I need you to be my partner and hold space for me.
I can't take care of you right now. You have to learn how to take care of yourself.
And then help me.
Okay. So what does the unfaithful do? Because early on, I was taught these things by Rick and another therapist. And so it wasn't called narcissistic supply.
No.
And it was pretty muddy and it was pretty awkward. But what does an unfaithful do? If the unfaithful's sitting here and the lights are coming on and they're like, she has just read my mail, as they say, what does the unfaithful do?
Okay, so I'll give you a good example from my own caseload a few years ago. The couple comes in and the unfaithful spouse, lots of developmental trauma that had never been dealt with. So what we did was, I explained the situation. They were both doctors, so it was easy because we did it from the neuropsychology model. And she basically said, okay, for the next 6 months, if you agree to do one-on-one, do ETD, do trauma work sessions with Amanda so that she can get you grounded. And then after that, we'll start doing the affair recovery work. And so he did it. Every week he would come and we would work on the family of origin. Or this is when I refer people out to Michael Webb and say, oh, you have to go do family of origin work first. Then you can come back and show up as your adult self, not your regressed teenager or child, and actually support your partner, which is actually less damaging if they can do it, because it gives me time to get them to a place where they can go and engage with their betrayed spouse, feel good about it, and then the betrayed spouse can feel safe and they can carry on their journey.
I think today is such a game changer for you that may struggle with this dynamic. If you're an unfaithful, we can help. You can go to affairrecovery.com. There's a course called Hope for Healing, just for unfaithful. If you're a betrayed spouse or partner, there's a course called Harboring Hope, which is a safe place for you, the betrayed. You can also come to our EMS Weekend Intensives. We also have an online course just for couples. But as Amanda so well said today, you can't stay stuck in this dynamic. It's only going to take you backwards. It's only going to keep you both stuck. So as always, thanks for joining me today. I think you've set many people free. We wish you incredible tenacity today to keep going, to refuse to quit on you, and to give everything that you have for your own healing, to build your own internal self-reference. It will change every part of your life, I promise.